When I landed here about 2 years ago now, it was Champs Barbers. There was the barber chair was there, the scissors, the combs, a lifetime supply of shampoo for me as well, which is great. My name is Nick. We're out here in Dun Laoghaire today in Lower Georgia Street. I'm a chartered quantity surveyor. I purchased this building about 2 years ago with the aim of converting it into a residential home. Initially it was a barbershop for many decades. It was vacant for over 2 years. Applied for planning to convert it from a commercial unit into residential. Closed the sale and began construction circa about 18 months ago. It's going really well at the moment. I've extended it a bit, aiming to get the building up to B2 fabric improvements, I suppose you could say. Looking to get it across the line in about December this year. You will need a specialist. You will need a building surveyor, an architect, or a QS, someone to do all that work for you. I knew my challenges straight away. I have no rear access. It's a very constrained site. Everything has to come out through the front door. 50 tons have come out so far, and all the steel has to be handballed in. So it takes a lot of coordination, a lot of piecemeal, and very slow. If you're spending this much, why not reassess? Like it was a lot of work. How I do this is I procure trades myself at a certain time when required. I coordinate them all and I buy all the materials. Plan your project. Plan it and understand it. It will make the execution a lot easier. Understanding what you're getting yourself into. As I said, understand the go, no-go principle. Do your DD. Don't just jump into it because you need a home or that you want this romantic idea of converting an old building. That is not a good idea. Understand the cost and the time that's involved with this project. So that's tip number one. Second one is obviously finance. If you're going to embark on one of these projects, make sure you have agreed your source of finance. Make sure that you understand where the costs are going to go and just be prepared for it. And be prepared for that there will be unknowns and some additional costs will crop up. Tip number 3 will be supply chain, as I think I've mentioned before. Supply chain is key to any construction project, but particularly this. You need to have a good, reliable supply chain. You need to know where you're getting materials from, can you get them on time, and you just need the right specialists or tradesmen to get this project across the line. It's not like a new build. Some guys won't want to work on this. Don't ask people to get involved if you know they don't really want to. Some people love working in these old buildings. They're interested in the project, the story, and they're the guys you want. I'm in Dun Laoghaire. I have building providers around the corner, steel fabricator around the corner, my engineers in the town, architects in the town. Kept everything close, and that's it. And they're happy to work on a project in the town as well. Someone undertaking one of these projects in the countryside, that's different. You really have to think how you can get men onto site, get your materials, where you're going to have your design team meetings, logistics. The disadvantage of a main street is you're on the main street, you have limited access. The advantage is you've got a lot around you. Use that to your advantage.
I came along today because I'm interested potentially in a project, something like this. Possibly even in this area, because I come out here quite a lot. I used to live around here. I'm looking for somewhere to maybe downsize, which might be potentially part commercial, part residential. I like the idea of living in a town as opposed to in a suburb.
We came today because we have recently bought a house in the area on the main street, similar to this property, and we wanted to see what Nick has done before us and hopefully learn some things from his renovation that might help us.
And one of the key things that I've learned is a QS is really important because it is a deep hole and you could be digging for a very long time if you just set off without actual proper planning. So it's encouraging.
Buying a vacant property like this, if it's been vacant for a while, buildings can have problems, even just being vacant for just a year. So seeing what he did with how he treated his floor, it was a very specific thing that he done his property that might be applicable to ours.
You can go into a project, particularly with an existing or an old building, with the best intentions in the world, but once you start, you need to be flexible because you never know what you're going to find. And the fact that he's done it slowly over time, because that is something that we are going to do. And often you second guess yourselves when you're in the process. So to know that you can do it slowly, take your time, build the relationships, be flexible, and hopefully it'll all work out in the end. So I actually grew up in a small town of 1,000 people in Mayo. So I grew up with the key in my pocket, and I was able to walk around the town, and even within my lifetime, I was able to trick or treat at every door and see all the lights on in the street. And as I grew up, sadly, the lights started to fade as people moved out of the towns, older people passed away or their businesses closed. And these left gaps and holes in the town. The lights went off. And it's so lovely that projects like this are bringing life back into towns, because people make towns.